In January 2021, I stumbled across some interesting photos in a group on Facebook, which depicted George Bush, a former American president, and some political personage I couldn't recognize. They were flashing a hand gesture that got me curious, not because it gave any significant impression at first, but the man who uploaded the photo commented that the hand sign was a subtle way of communication between members of secret societies. The word, secret, was the key trigger behind my curiosity, and my intuition made my heart skipped for a split second. As a person who have distrust the governments for a long time, I began to imagine the possibilities of what the meaning of secret and society laid out. Minutes after I saved some identical collage of the same hand sign into my gallery, I assumed that it meant nothing, and that the man was biased. Anybody could unknowingly make that same hand sign. It meant nothing, I thought. But then it dawned on me that not only were these figures politicians, but they appeared to be intentionally displaying it. This led me into a journey of investigation and comprehensive research that lasted at least 6 months, which brought me into the other side. Currently, I have spent a year in this research.
No, but his knowledge of this is on a whole other level.
What I mean by the other side is that my view of the world changed completely. The movies, the news, institutions, religion, education, economy, and history became one part of an entire chessboard. A famous quote from William Shakespeare summarizes in allegory: "All the world's a stage, and all men and women, merely players, they have their exits and their entrances, and one man in his time, plays many parts." Before we dive into specific issues, I will admit to you that we have been successfully distracted. The unlimited movies, social medias, the cooperate news, the political and economic conflict between socialism and capitalism, are all different strategies, employed by those at the top of society, to keep us distracted, afraid and misdirected. Until you open your mind to this possibility, no matter how much evidence that will be presented, you won't believe. This is not because that it isn't true, but the fact that it is too outrageous for most people to accept. Extraordinary claims requires extraordinary evidence, and as I have promised, I will do my best with that, provided you are open-minded to understand them.
Well, I go on facts, not recommendations, but thank you.
Jordan Maxwell, in his book Matrix of Power, wrote an underlying statement, and I quote, "More and more, the governmental powers from behind the scenes are quietly making sure that people don't talk too much about things that are controversial. I think that human minds are being remolded and reprogrammed so that people don't really have to think a whole lot anymore. We just go along to get along, and whatever the government says, we do, whatever the church says, we do, and whatever our assigned authorities say to do, we do." I think that that is where the real problem is going to exist. When you read the phrase, "from behind the scenes," you will immediately remember the movies, and how they are organized, and fancied with wallpapers, action and CGI, which keeps you binge watching. When you read that, human minds are being remolded and reprogrammed, I want you to take note of your television, because that is what the word, programmed, is best related to. And lastly, when you read that, "we do whatever our assigned authorities say to do," I want you to take note of prominent authorities, such as religion, science and government. You will begin to see that these different aspects of society have had a major influence in our lives, and they have contributed to what shaped our beliefs, ideas, character and aspirations. Now when it comes to conspiracy, and the truth that people in high places don't want you to know, you are going to realize that every one of these things are connected one way or another.
Plots and conspiracies and red flags going up.
How many of you can boast that the medications and drugs you take into the body wasn't intended to cause more damages, so that you can continue to pay for more treatment? Can sickness be completely cured? If there is, or was one, what makes you so confident that they will give it out to the public? What about the huge amount of money they make from sick patients? You see, that is why conspiracy theories exist, because there are independent thinkers who can look deep into the world and find the truth behind the veil. What is this conspiracy that I am talking about? Subscribe, click on the notification, and let us dive into the rabbit hole.
No more tricks, no more lies, only truth.